So, picture this Netflix boardroom, closed doors, nervous whispers, and one name bouncing off every wall like an unwanted echo. Meghan Markle, or as insiders have started calling her behind the scenes, Mega Marvel. Dramatic maybe. Accurate? You'd be surprised because what's going down right now between Meghan and Netflix is more than just a failed partnership. It's a slow-motion PR implosion, and the wreckage is flying in every direction. Let's rewind a bit. Meghan's deal with Netflix was supposed to be her golden ticket. A juicy contract, creative freedom, a way to control her narrative. But what started as a fairy tale deal is now unraveling like a dollar store wig in a storm. Her contract done, over, cancelled after September. The decision wasn't subtle either. Netflix top dogs Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos told her straight, there will be no renewal. Zero zilch. And ever since that news hit, Meghan's been spiraling hard. Now, when most people get dropped by a major studio, they either lay low or quietly pivot. Not Meghan. No. She's going full throttle in the opposite direction. She's out here planning what can only be described as a chaotic Instagram comeback tour. And I'm not talking about selfies with motivational quotes. I'm talking about a full-blown choreographed music-backed campaign video meant to call out Hollywood. That alone sounds wild, but trust me, it gets worse. This mystery video, the one supposedly worse than the pregnancy video, was initially blocked by Netflix because Meghan was still under contract. But guess what? That didn't stop her. According to insiders, she's been working on it behind the scenes the whole time, writing, filming, editing. She even brought in her own little songwriting team to whip up a track about misogyny, sexism, and toxic masculinity. 3 minutes of social justice theater with Meghan and her crew dressed up as stereotypical Hollywood male execs. Suits, slick back hair, fake cigars, the whole thing. Now here's the jaw-dropper. Part of this video was shot inside Netflix headquarters. Yep. Without permission. Apparently, Meghan rolled into one of the studios dressed like a cigar chomp and zigzag and started doing hip-hop choreography with a suitcase in hand and no clearance, no heads up, just vibes and delusion. Netflix only found out after the footage started bouncing around internal chats like a viral meme. And let's just say the legal department is not amused. And it doesn't end there. Netflix legal team has already reached out warning her not to release the footage. But Meghan's team, they're doubling down. Word is they've already scheduled a September drop, the same month her contract expires, as one last screw you to the Hollywood machine. Apparently, they're even contacting press outlets to help hype it up in advance, trying to build buzz like this is some edgy indie film. But let's be real, this isn't edgy. It's reckless and honestly a little embarrassing. Think about the timing. Meghan's last viral moment, the infamous pregnancy video, already had people questioning her judgment. Whether it was real, fake, 4 years old, or shot last Tuesday in her backyard, that clip sparked massive backlash. People were confused, critics were brutal, and even some of her fans didn't know what to say. And now she's trying to top it with a parody of Hollywood execs filmed on property she wasn't even supposed to be on. That's not a comeback move. That's career sabotage. Netflix is reportedly this close to pulling the plug on the reshoots for her show with Love Meghan. That's hours of expensive footage potentially going straight into the trash because she couldn't resist filming a TikTok rebellion in their building. At this point, it's not about creativity or control. It's about defiance. And Meghan, she's playing a dangerous game. Ted Sarandos has seen some wild things during his reign at Netflix, but insiders say this latest Meghan stunt left him speechless. Not because it was bold or revolutionary, but because it was downright baffling. You've got one of the most polarizing public figures on your payroll, already skating on thin ice, and she decides to moonwalk across it in tap shoes. The vibe inside Netflix HQ. Private home sessions are a tough place for business executives to handle anything but business. One exec called it a masterclass in how to burn bridges while setting the river on fire. Apparently, the breaking point wasn't just the unauthorized shoot. It was what Meghan actually did in that footage. In one leaked clip making the rounds internally, she's seen stomping down a hallway in a pantsuit, puffing on a cigar prop, barking orders at her friends playing assistants. The whole thing is cut like a mock music video. Flashing lights, over-the-top facial expressions, dance breaks, and lyrics calling out old white suits choking dreams. It's supposed to be a feminist statement, but Netflix sees it as something very different. A legal nightmare wrapped in a PR disaster. To say they are angry would be an understatement. Legal sent a letter that, according to someone close to the situation, didn't leave a single inch of room for misinterpretation. It spelled out exactly why Meghan cannot use footage filmed on Netflix premises, cited the specific contract clause she violated, and laid out potential legal action if she moves forward. But Meghan's camp, they're already planning the rollout like nothing happened. They've got editors putting together teaser clips. They're pitching to journalists. One even reached out to a popular gossip site asking if they'd cover Meghan's daring strike against the Hollywood machine. People close to the situation say Meghan truly believes she's creating her formation moment. She's convinced the video will be her reclamation of power, her reinvention, her bold step back into cultural dominance. But to everyone else watching, it's giving something closer to a meltdown, especially considering how desperate it all looks. Behind the scenes, Meghan's team has been quietly reaching out to casting directors, agents, even second-tier streaming platforms trying to secure her next big gig. But every door keeps slamming shut. Executives don't want to touch her. One producer reportedly said, "She brings drama without the ratings." Studios see the headlines, the lawsuits, the relentless noise, and they run. And the social media push, it isn't helping. The pregnancy video was already enough to send several PR teams into panic mode. This new video with Meghan mocking the very system she's still trying to get validation from just deepens the disconnect. There's also talk that Netflix might pull the plug on the remaining footage from her show. With Love, Meghan was never a runaway hit, but it had enough internal support to justify a second season. Now that goodwill is evaporating fast. One source said reshoots are on life support. And if Meghan doesn't back down, they'll pull the plug completely. That means 3 hours of already shot content gone, deleted. Millions of dollars wasted. And here's the irony. She could have walked away quietly. She could have blamed creative differences, rebranded, and moved on. Instead, she's choosing chaos. The kind of chaos that doesn't just end contracts, it ends career. This isn't a protest. It's a public self-immolation broadcast in real time with filters and hashtags. Hollywood forgives a lot, but what it doesn't forgive is being mocked by someone who still wants a seat at the table, especially when that table belongs to the studio you just snuck into for a guerrilla TikTok shoot. Meghan's team is betting on controversy to keep her relevant. But even her closest allies are starting to raise eyebrow. One publicist who used to work with her quietly admitted, "I think she's lost the room." Behind closed doors, some of the people who once championed her are distancing themselves, silently removing her from pitch decks, skipping her name in meetings, or simply ghosting her calls, not because they're afraid of backlash but because they're exhausted. There's this growing fatigue around everything Meghan touches. Every project feels like it's got an expiration date the moment her name's attached to it. People, remember the podcast that fizzled, the children's book that came and went, the Spotify fallout, the endless legal feuds? And now this rogue campaign video that feels less like empowerment and more like performance art gone rogue. Insiders at Netflix say that even the interns know about the Meghan tape now. It's become a kind of underground meme in the office. Some are calling it Suits the Musical. Others just shake their heads and say, "Only Meghan." It's not just about what she did. It's about how confidently she did it. Like, she genuinely believed Netflix would applaud her for storming their space and parodying their leadership. That kind of delusion isn't just rare, it's radioactive. But what really sealed the deal wasn't the footage, it was the attitude. Sources say Meghan's team responded to Netflix's legal warnings with smug replies, like they were daring the platform to make it a bigger story. They see any publicity, even legal threats, as fuel. And while that might work for TikTok influencers chasing shock value, it doesn't sit well in an industry where reputations are currency. You can't insult the gatekeepers and expect them to hand you the keys afterward. Meanwhile, the Instagram video is being treated like the second coming of the pregnancy post. But this time people aren't confused. They're just tired. That first viral clip left people wondering if it was real, a stunt, or a poorly timed throwback. This new one, it's loud, messy, and incredibly specific. The cigar, the fake mustache, the cheesy background vocals, the whole thing looks like a rejected SNL sketch, except nobody's laughing. And yet, Meghan seems convinced this is her big swing. Word is she's planning a full launch. Teasers, interviews, maybe even a surprise live. She's reportedly trying to license the original track on streaming platforms, even pitching it as a protest anthem. Her inner circle is hyping it up like it's Beyoncé's Lemonade meets Greta Gerwig's Barbie. But the truth is, it's coming off like a last-ditch Hail Mary from someone who refuses to read the room. As the clock ticks down to September, Netflix is preparing its final response. Legal options are being drafted. PR strategies are being reviewed. And if Meghan uploads that video even for 5 minutes, they're ready to pounce. Not because they're threatened, but because they want to make an example out of it. To send a message that not even a royal title gives you the right to breach contracts and clown the company on the way out. For Meghan, this could be the moment that defines her Hollywood legacy. Not as a trailblazer, not as a media disruptor, but as the woman who blew up her own second act in a blaze of selfies, stunts and sound bites. Because at the end of the day, even the loudest messages fall flat when no one's left to listen. And in Meghan's case, the silence after the noise might be the loudest chapter yet.